had stopped at last point where Nirodbaran had offered cheese and biscuits to Shri Aurobindo.
Jai Shri Ram.
Jai Shri Ram, Sharda ji, Namaste Maji. We'll start in exactly 1 more minute. Yeah. Well, I think it's time. Let us anyway begin without delay. Let us begin with the invocation. Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhe Bhavatu Me Sada Vasudevam Sutam Devam Kamsachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagatgurum Krishnam Vande Jagatgurum. Hari Om. Yes,
Om.
please. Hari Om ji. Namaste. Can someone recollect what is it that we saw last? Yes, please. Anybody? Something.
Actually, we saw it was more about why some of the people left the ashram and who didn't seem to be weak in this path of spiritual path. So we saw questions around that where the answers mostly pointed towards the lower forces acting upon, and some of the questions were when the answer was Asurik Swabhav could be one of the reasons. Then the question was asked, are they more powerful than the divine forces? So, but God is not someone who's going to go and force someone to take heaven without the will of the person who is, if he really wants to or not. So, some of these kind of question and answers is what we saw. And problem happens when we invite the lower thoughts. So it closes the doors, and it causes the disbelief in the path. And so we saw a question where after long years of sadhana, if he quits the path, and why can't God help in such situations? So we saw that the exercise of free choice, and even if God comes, we may not recognize and reject it. So this was something we saw. And we saw that there are two conditions in this path of yoga. So central or core sincerity towards the divine, and fidelity towards the divine. So we saw these two things, and if there is a feeling of the divinity receding within, why is it that question was asked, and the answer was the divinity doesn't recede. It's again some kind of lower vitals, and we have to rise above that. So these are some of the points that I could recollect.
Yes. All right, Ji. And do you recollect the year we had stopped in something? 1933, is it? We had stopped in 1933 and now 1934. Or anybody? Do you recollect it? Because the pages have got a little disarrayed.
I think that was it. Like we had finished one particular year and then we had to jump into the next year.
1934, huh? Then I think it is 1934 that we are looking at. All right, so long ago, no? And Shri Aurobindo's words are still relevant. One more thing that we saw about different beings of the body. There's a physical being, there is a mental being, there is something called a vital being, there's also a psychic being. Anybody can just share or shed some light on these 4 beings? Something, because that will be useful as we move ahead. Yes, Joey.
I think I remember about the psychic beings. Psychic beings mean the Chaitanya, something that's like the divinity
Purush.
part.
That
Purush, that
Purush.
is, yes.
Yeah.
And that is correct, like always correct, I guess.
Okay.
Something like that we had talked about.
Absolutely. Yes, physical being, we know it, isn't it? Our body. Mental being. Yes, anybody? Mental being in the sense. If you study the Taittiriya Upanishad, there are various koshas which are being described. That is a little different, but something similarity is there in this. But yes, anybody, what is the mental being then? Connected to the, if physical is Sharira, mental should be connected to the, yes?
Brain, mind, man.
Yeah. My brain is what we can say a morphological aspect. Mind is something which is a little more subtle than the brain and not connected with the sharira. So slightly higher than the sharira is the mind, a higher state of consciousness. So there is a mental being. Mental being works on the level of the mind. Then there is a vital being. We had seen something about vital, lower vital, vital impulses in the previous talk. Can anybody recollect something about it? Anything?
I only remember the lower forces, lower vital forces. There are two types, lower and
Ah,
higher. Lower
right.
vital forces actually deviates us from our spiritual path. So don't believe it. That's all I
All right.
remember.
Okay, so there is lower vital, and then because there is lower, there must be a higher also, isn't it? By logic, just as lower, there must be something higher. So the higher vital is also there. The higher vital is a good vital, lower vital is not so good. It can call it an emotional state. We can say, no, in emotions, the flux of emotions, most of them belong to the what we can call the vital being. In emotions also, we have some emotions which can help us, some emotions which can help move us forward. There are some emotions which can push us back also. So that is important. So that is what we can say in vital. It's like a horse. A wild horse can be tamed also, isn't it? When you tame the wild horse, you can utilize it. But if it is not, the best of the best people will fall off from the horse. Sometimes those injuries are very dangerous. Like I think there are stories. The Superman actor also, he fell from a horse and unfortunately got paralyzed. So yes, let us see. There is also one thing I think, as Juhiji said, Chaitya Purush. That is another part of our existence, our part of consciousness, which is the psychic being. So let us continue. We enter into what is 1934 now. Dr. Nirodbaran has written. Let us continue. He writes, is there any hint that the projection from the mind into the vital has been rather invited and encouraged by myself? So it is in continuation with his last talks, where he talked about his not being so happy, not a little being depressed. All that was likely due to the vital beings. So he's asking in relation to that, we will now enter. Is there any hint that the projection from the mind into the vital has come rather invited and encouraged by myself? Did I myself invite the vital? Aurobindo. It came by being preoccupied too much with the difficulties of the nature. It is always better to dwell on the good side of things in yourself. I don't mean in an egoistic way, but with faith and cheerful confidence, calling down the positive experience of which nature is already capable, so that the constant positive growth can help in the rejection of all that has to be rejected. But in fact, one gets often projected into vital difficulties at an early stage, and then instead of going from the mind into the psychic through the heart, one has to go through the disturbed vital. Would you like me to read it once more? Yes? Anybody?
Yes, sir.
All right, Ji. This is actually very beautifully said. The master has written very nicely about a progression moment here. This is, it came by being preoccupied too much with the difficulties of the nature. It is always better to dwell on the good side of things in yourself. I do not mean in an egoistic way, but with faith and cheerful confidence, calling down the positive experience of which the nature is already capable, so that a constant positive growth can help in the rejection of all that is to be rejected. But in fact, one gets often projected into the vital difficulties at an early stage, and then instead of going from the mind into the psychic to the heart, one has to go through the disturbed vital. So if you just see, this is very interesting. Many times we get too preoccupied with our difficulties. Our mind attaches to those difficulties, and because of which we are not able to really understand or find the courage, find the strength, find the will to do works. That is lost. So here, Aurobindo is saying, don't get too preoccupied. Then another thing, better to dwell on the good side of things in yourself. Anybody, why is it important? dwelling on the good side. Sri Aurobindo says this, that better to dwell on the good side. Yes, Johiji.
Then we will be more rational as compared to being irrational and more emotional, because आप already emotional होगे when you are dwelling on the
Okay.
problem a lot. So
Huh.
psychologically speaking,
Hmm.
brain will be activated and you will be doing better thing rationally.
Oh, that's interesting. So only reason you'll be thinking about yourself is when you are emotional. Otherwise, we don't think much about ourselves. But that emotional disturbance is sometimes what we call vital disturbance only. Here, this emotion. One more aspect is sadhana. When does sadhana get over? Like a game, we have level 1, level 2, reached boss stage, and now I have become champion, or sadhana is lifelong?
Sadhana
Lifelong.
is never ending. It's a
It
journey
never.
that
It's a journey.
will
Yes,
keep on going till we
it will
actually
keep on.
reach moksha. So
So
it's a
as a
journey.
okay, so journey is continuous.
Yeah.
Then what about hurdles? They will also be throughout the journey, or they will be only in some stages? Lower
Uh,
stages, less hurdles, higher
Throughout
stages.
the journey, no, someone actually told me कि Krishna or the God just keeps on giving us all sort of siddhis also in between the path. कि भाई भटक जाओ. So you
हाँ,
also said na, that not everyone is able to go to the ultimate
mm,
God. Most
हाँ,
of the
but
people fail.
he doesn't say bhatak jao. We only bhat go ahead. He gives us
नहीं
siddhi
तो
to
फिर नहीं वो है
हाँ,
but like we got the siddhi and
yeah.
then
So
once you got the siddhi don't care about it, you still have to reach out to the God,
right,
right? Keep on
right,
going.
right. So
That's
we
where
should
we
not.
go but go
So
fight.
hurdles are there, and there was a beautiful book written by Sri M.P. Pandit, one very great sadhak. Pitfalls in sadhana. Means on the path of sadhana also there are many places we fall. So it shows that yes, even if we are on the path, challenges will be there. Not just now, it will always be there. So what do we need then? We have to be ready, we have to be alert. We'll have to find a force to go ahead, isn't it? To overcome the challenges. If we don't have that force, what will happen? We'll get taken away. So that is what Krishna, Sri Aurobindo is saying here. He's saying you have to look at yourself, look at the good in you. Because many times we have this habit of being overcritical about ourselves. Nothing good in me. There's nothing positive in me. I am just a bundle of emotions and I have no higher purpose, no higher will, no talent. These are all what we can say. These are actually unnecessarily depressing ourselves. We are lowering our consciousness for no reason. Instead, what should our consciousness be used for? For receiving what? Higher knowledge. Because for facing this challenge, we will need strength. Why do we do upasanas? Shaktim Dehi, we pray to Ma Durga, give me strength. Why do I need strength? How many Mahishasuras I am going to slay? Well, no, that is a different aspect. We are going to have enough asuras throughout our life to deal with. We need that strength, we need wisdom, we need to be open, and also one beautiful aspect, calling down the positive experience of which nature is already capable. Means our Prakriti is capable up to some extent today. As our sadhana increases, our capacity will increase. As Johiji talked about Siddhi, Siddhi will come later on, definitely. But our capacity slowly increases. So how do we work? We work through our Swabhava, through our nature, and we don't want any hurdles to block us. For that reason, we should receive according to our capacity at least. For that, let's not negative, put in, sometimes there's a nice, in Marathi, there's a beautiful phrase, लागोन दृष्ट माझी माझ्याच वैभवाला. May I not give a bad nazar on my good moments. Meaning, I am only jinxing myself. Everything is good, but I shouldn't. It is so good. Maybe my jinx, I should not, no, my jinx should not fall on it. That is what we should realize because there are moments we unnecessarily bring down. We need that strength to reject. Reject what? Reject wrong suggestions. We need to be able to reject lower impulses, lower thoughts. And sadhana is not so easy. It is simple when we hold on to our aradhya, but when it's simple when we have margadarshan, all that is true. But while we are experiencing it, suddenly ahankar comes in without our knowledge. Suddenly we claim to be higher than I have control over my emotions. Next moment, Krishna will put somebody in front of you who will show you you have no control over your emotions. So in all those moments, we need some kind of a backup, and there cannot be a better backup buddy than ourselves. So let us not negate ourselves anywhere. Krishna goes on. So he said this next part is also interesting. In fact, one often gets projected into vital difficulties at an early stage. And then instead of going from the mind into the psychic, that is through the heart, one has to go through the disturbed vital. Nature's way is like this. Nature is going to make us progress. Nature is going to make us do sadhana, whether or not we understand. It is said, you do it or you'll be forced to do it. That is the mother's word. The situation will come where you will have no option but to do sadhana. Difficult moments will come, otherwise you will not remember it only. The divine's presence is forgotten. But it is not necessary. It is not necessary to experience suffering. It is not necessary to have a disturbed vital and then move to the psychic being, which is said to be the higher. Through the heart center, we can go directly from mind to psychic being. This is a journey Sri Aurobindo has talked about. This is interesting because we'll have to ponder on it. We'll probably note it down and meditate about it and understand how this can be done. The best way you can experience is only by doing it. So you'll have to try, but understand this, not through disturbance. Disturbed emotions you don't have to go through all the time. Nirodbaran, he asks a question. He says, is it possible to retrace one's steps to the psychic? If so, how? Sri Aurobindo, January 1, 1934. It can be done. If you refuse to be preoccupied with the idea of your difficulties and concentrate on really helpful and positive things. How important it is. If it can be done, if you refuse to be preoccupied with your idea of your difficulties and concentrate on really helpful and positive things. Be more cheerful and confident. Sex and doubt and co are there, no doubt. But the divine is also there inside you. Open your eyes and look. Look till the veil is rent and you see him or her. So Sri Aurobindo says, it can be done. You can retrace your steps back into that psychic being. We saw, isn't it? There are some moments. Just 1 second. Yes, it can be done if you refuse to be preoccupied with your idea of your difficulties and concentrate on really helpful and positive things. So in sadhana also, my life is like this. These are my hurdles. These are my surroundings. This is my sanskara. This is my previous experience, or these are the hurdles. If you keep focusing on the hurdles, they will look that way only, isn't it? Sri Aurobindo was in prison in Alipur. If he keeps looking, I cannot serve my country, look at these hurdles, what is this, what is the meaning? Of course, yogis, we cannot talk about them, but we can learn from them. See, despite physical difficult hurdles, which were crazy, he could summon Krishna's presence. Krishna came, handed Bhagavad Gita into his hand. That's his anubhav. He has said in Uttarpara speech beautifully how the experience came with Bhagavad Gita in his hand. And that direction came. So like that, we should not be preoccupied with the hurdles and difficult things. Be more cheerful and confident. Both are very important in sadhana. Confidence in what? Confidence in yourself, whatever I'm capable of. But what about what I am not capable of? It's all right. God will give me the strength. God will make me capable. God will give me the capacity to these hurdles also. If God has placed it, He's also going to give me the strength how I will overcome it. Let me do my role, nothing more than that. Sex, doubt, and company are there, no doubt, but the divine is also there inside of you. So a lot of time impulses take control of a person and they're not able to control those impulses. But instead, focus on good, focus on the divine inside of you, you'll be able to rise. Anger, self-doubt, all impulses can be overcome, is what he's saying. Open your eyes, Sri Aurobindo says. Look and look till the veil is rent, and then you see him or her, the Deva or the Devi. You will be able to experience. Nirodbaran, he says, while meditating, I saw among many things a sea in flood. Just after it, the silver disk of the sun flashing brilliantly. Sri Aurobindo, the sea is the vital. The sun, the first appearance of the light of truth over it. There's something, you see, he's very conscious of his dreams also. Most of the times we don't remember our dreams. But some sadhaks, they have the habit of maintaining a dream diary also. What are the dreams they see? Because through dreams, we get some understanding. Mandukya Upanishad talks about it. There are Jagruti, Sushupti, various states of consciousness are there. In the subtle consciousness, we get signals. One old lady got a dream of a young baby born in her hands. What can that symbolize? Anybody? She's going to get pregnant again at the age of 60s or something. Anybody? What do you think could that dream symbolize? We can just hamper a guess. Anybody? Yes? Anyone? There's no harm in guessing.
Mamta
Sorry?
shows the motherhood, like Mamta. She's not trying to get pregnant or something, but it can be a bhav, Mamta.
Okay, it could be mother, but mother is again, mamta is a bhav which is connected with more of emotional aspect, isn't it? You can
Yes,
say
yeah.
vital, little vital. So something else, maybe more than that, if we can think of. Because many say if dreams get true, dreams become true. So now immediately, if this dream becomes true, she must be very worried or anxious. What's going to happen? But no, actually, it is the dawn of, it's like new birth means new consciousness, isn't it? The new beginning, some new start, that can become an indication. There are different aspects like that. Nirodbaran asks a question. He says, I saw a beautiful, I saw sea. There was like a flood of, and then silver disk of the sun flashing. It's a silver disk, not brilliant yellow, golden disk. It's silver. What is the meaning? Shervindo has described it, saying it's a sea that is the vital. The sun is the first appearance of light of truth over it. Means the first beginning of the truth by the horizon. He is probably Nirodbaran is finally getting some good dreams. Earlier he had different types. So let us continue. Nirodbaran, he says, this is 1934, January 2nd, 13th. Yeah. Though you have given me permission to take a cup of tea, as soon as I face you, I feel guilty. Shri Aurobindo. If you feel like that, it is much better not to take tea. So it's not the tea, it's the guilt that is the troublesome thing. Nirodbaran, he says, S called me to see him. He offered me a cup of tea. Do you approve of my taking anything offered by him in future? Shri Aurobindo, no. It would be better not to take S's thing. This cooking has reawakened his greed of food and made him ill again and after I had completely cured him. Which is avoid it. Some people have the tendency, the sanskaras don't change. They hold on to their own previous ones. So Shri Aurobindo has cured and still he goes on. Nirodbaran, he says, can you spare me a canvas cot, if any? If you can, please sanction some mosquito frame arrangement too. Shri Aurobindo, ask for the canvas cot and a mosquito frame to be used with. Impossible to hang a mosquito frame on the independent principle here. January 14, 1934. You see, all of these are sadhaks. They have come leaving aside everything to do sadhana. Their entire preoccupation is sadhana. Dr. Nirodbaran was a FRCS doctor from outside. And he came here, he started working in carpentry section and look at the questions he's asking. What does it indicate? It indicates that, Druda Bhava for sadhana. Means they have understood that this is the purpose. This is the reason I have to go ahead. And so for that, they are willing to do tapasya also. And it is interesting that this tapasya is not directly visible on the outside. We are reading now, but otherwise, so many people never even knew about this correspondence which ever took place. And how secret it was that even the mother didn't know about this correspondence with Sri Aurobindo, where Sri Aurobindo is sharing about jokes. She knew, of course, the correspondence taking place, but the humorous side was later on only revealed. And then she gave permission to have this is published also as a book. Nirodbaran, he says, last night I had a unique experience. I saw a skeleton standing by my bed. It seemed to resemble my father. Sri Aurobindo, he's written, the skeleton was created by your fear. So this fear is a sanskara which is created inside of us that manifests in so many places. Here in his dream also, his fear for his father is coming. Nirodbaran. I have heard that when someone dies with strong attachment, his spirit remains chained, as it were, to the object of his desire. Sri Aurobindo, yes. Nirodbaran. But these spirits are supposed to be maleficent and their appearance also ugly. He seemed to have nothing of these. Did he mean any harm? So probably Nirodbaran's father has passed away, and after that he's got this experience. Sri Aurobindo, he says, no, they need not be. In reference to that, the spirits are supposed to be maleficent and their appearance should be ugly. That is what he felt. But he said, no, they need not be. No. Sri Aurobindo says the fear is absurd and has no ground. Nirodbaran, what should I do if he comes again? Shall I face him and look intently at him and call your name? Sri Aurobindo, the best is to ask what he wants. If there is anything malicious, then use the name. So again, bhaya is not required. Abhayam sattva sanshuddhihi, the Bhagavad Gita tells us that. The adhyaya on Asura and Deva. The first thing is fearlessness. And here our job is not to give moksha to all spirits also. Some people get into that habit also. It's not talking about that, but only one need not be fearful all the time. And one more thing is one can just it's all right. It is. I think many have sometimes. I do not know about our group who are right now who are present here, but person of I know somebody. This person felt uh, subconscious fear he was projecting into his dream and into his thoughts. It was unnecessary, and it was just emotional. Will my mother haunt me? Was the question of a son who loves his mother and whose mother loves him. Will the mother come to haunt such a person? No, it is not. It is not. It is not like that. It is a subconscious fear that unnecessarily is being introduced. And here Sri Aurobindo says it's nothing to be worried. And if at all there is something malicious, anytime if you say something is there, then you can invoke the divine strength, divine's name. But otherwise, you don't have to have any fear. Nirodbaran, she asked me whether I would like to take up supervision work in the house painting department. But it's a whole-time work, so other duties have to be given up. What should I do? Nirodbaran. It may not be whole time, so Sri Aurobindo. It may not be whole time. Speak to Rishabh Chand and see what can be arranged. One last question is why should a doctor do a house painting work in house painting department? Anybody? Yes.
Maybe it's about being grounded instead of being proudy. He
Okay.
can, you have some things, but all these menial things will get him grounded. And
Yeah.
once
And
you
maybe
are
they are not
grounded,
meager also. Maybe they are not meager also, isn't it?
yes. And I
Yeah.
think
Because
all the skills works. Like I think you had mentioned once that Damnaji says that everyone should know all the skills, and that's
yeah,
at
we
least
should be
necessary
able
in a
to.
foreign country. So
Yeah, actually, like even cooking and all, first thing normally says my student must be a good cook. Otherwise, no sadhana can be done by you. So retired bank managers have made for the first time in life tea for their wives, who have never ever done before in their entire life. Wife is also overwhelmed, ki wow. But the first thing is this is what we call self-discipline is required. And second is recognizing Sri Aurobindo's yoga is about perfection in works. Yoga karmasu kaushalam in the Gita. Means sometimes some of the rituals may not be done by people, but every work will be done consciously. The artwork is done consciously. The smallest work, carpentry department also, let each stroke be done consciously. Damliji was a gymnast, All India fifth in when he was young in school, and when he came to Pondicherry and he was taken to the ashrams, different places. That time he saw He said, when I saw them doing Surya Namaskar, I have myself done Surya Namaskar. But see, these children were doing Surya Namaskar like a prayer, each moment. And that is the difference. Consciously doing Surya Namaskar is also different. When you do it consciously, right, with your inhalation, exhalation, mantra, you are bowing to what? You will just watch how it, makes your full body energized. Your each and every muscle starts participating. It will have a different effect than doing it rigidly. So this is what every work, no work is higher, no work is lower. Carpentry department, this department, that department, there's nothing which is higher or lower because all works are works of what? Karmas connected to each other only, all using them as a channel for sadhana. Means whatever work, that is what is the speciality of Sri Aurobindo's yoga. Many times people come and see, अरे यहाँ कोई साधना कर ही नहीं रहा है. Yaha pashyati saha pashyati is all you can say in the Gita as it is told. Who can see, can see. You will see somebody who is senior and yet this person is doing a simple work of sitting here and just, please go there, please go there. Like a tape recorder repeating only that line 100 times, that is equal to a mantra japa because it's done consciously. So that is important. That is why we are hearing this example, house painting or this department, that department. Nirodbaran is asking for the question. In connection with that spirit, may I ask you if it was actually my father's spirit, even when it had no resemblance? Sri Aurobindo. But if it had no resemblance, why did you take it for your father? It may have been only an ordinary being of the vital world. Now this is interesting. Vital world, we see only emotions, we understand, but it seems vital world is full of forces also. Forces come. I think anybody has had pets in their home? Anyone has interacted with pets closely? Cats specifically? No? All right. Or even dogs. Anybody? Yeah, Dr. Surajji.
Yeah,
Yes, sir. So, in dogs or cats, sir, what is your experience that way?
cats, they are
Or
very mischievous. So it is.
they're very mysterious. Okay, but suddenly means they are what I think there's a lot of static sound. I'll just mute you for a moment. Yes, sir, and you can unmute while you are speaking, sir. So, Dr. Surajji is saying yes, with cats probably. Where you see animals sometimes are more receptive to sudden forces they from the vital world. Aggression suddenly comes into the dogs also. Cats are said to be lower vital, they are easily receptive. That is why sometimes if we keep cats away from certain sadhanas. Mysterious, as Dr. Surajji has said, is also true because some use that for a different purpose. Yes, but this is the fact. This is the fact. Yeah. Yes. So here Krishna is Sri Aurobindo is saying it may have been an ordinary being also. It may not be the father. You're just visualizing. Then maybe if there is no resemblance, so there was some resemblance probably. That's why he thought, but it need not be the same. So that means all that we see in our dreams, we don't have to trust it completely. Also, Damliji was told by his father, "You will see gods, you will see ghosts. Don't trust both." Why? Hey, the Krishna is coming. Krishna, come now when I'm awake. I'm doing your upasana only. Why are you going to hide and come in my sleep? Come, hold my hand, take me ahead. I don't mind. So this fear is not required anyways. Nirodhan, let's continue. Sometimes it appears that all efforts and aspirations are simply like so many stones thrown into the sea. And I feel that there is not a drop of devotion in me for you. I want some busy work that could carry me along with the stream. How to face this situation? Shishya is saying to his guru and his aradhya, I am not having at times devotion for you also. He's very much sincere. Huh? This is something which is beautiful. If we have to understand, see, he has only published this. He's published this after his sadhana has gone ahead. People don't like talking about their mistakes. Here he's very clearly saying why, so we all can learn from him. We can do a big pranam to Dr. Nirodban for this reason. He said, yes, it appears all efforts, all aspirations, they're all looking like stones thrown into the sea. Not a drop. Sri Aurobindo, he responds, he says, Mother says, beware of what you talk. Hmm. Also, a certain kind of thoughts. It is very often talks one has that bring in this condition, throwing one into the most ordinary and dry physical consciousness. These talks, careful, don't simply talk unnecessarily something about yourself or negative things, because that is creating a sanskara, isn't it? I am hopeless. Isn't that a sanskara then? Mental sanskara you have created. When you do a japa of I am hopeless, will it be better, or if you do Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, which japa is better? Always the higher one. So mother says, that is why very strict. It was said, mother said, Sri Aurobindo may be a gentleman, I am not. She was so strict and everybody was a little more scared. That is her, what we can say, personality. So it's Sri Aurobindo is in this letter we can see. Mother says, beware of what you talk. Also a certain kind of thoughts. It is very often talks that bring in this condition, throwing one into the most ordinary and dry physical consciousness. Recover your tendency, recover your reading tendency and get rid of tamas. So, abhyasa, try study something and throw away that tamas. This is tamas only, which is bringing these thoughts. This was in January 18th, 1934. Let's continue. I spoke to Rishabh Chand. He would like to have a full-time, he would like to have a full-time worker. But Shanti wants me to do garden work with him. I leave it to you, Shri Aurobindo. Mother has written to Rishabh Chand that you can be relieved from the office work, but might not like to give up garden work. So he, he should try to arrange in such a way that the garden work should continue. January 19th, 1934. We go to February. I enclose a poem. The philosophical conception expressed therein may perhaps be wrong, because the Purusha is supposed to be inactive, only giving sanction to Prakriti. Isn't it so? I have represented the Lord with dynamism along with static poise. So Nirodbaran has now finally begun writing poetry. Remember, he was saying, I cannot write poetry at all. Like this person, like that person. I don't have that tendency. Anybody remembers that Gita shlok? Dadami buddhi yogam tam. Yes? Anything? Anybody remembers of that shloka? If you can, please tell me. Manisha ji was nodding. Again, I request all of you who can turn on video feeds, please turn on, because at least it's easier. Non-verbal communication can also be done. Yes, Manisha ji? Of course, if you don't want to be called out, you can turn it off. Yes, Manisha ji, yes, please.
It, you, Arjuna was telling Shri Krishna that you give me the buddhi. I mean, he was asking for the buddhi from Shri
Krishna tells, I'll give you the buddhi. I will send. Dadami buddhi yogam. Means your devotion is firm, your sincerity is there, then buddhi, I will give you skill. I'll give you that buddhi which will set you apart. People will be able to feel my presence. So like that now, Dr. Nirodbaran, who had never written poetry, has now written poetry. He's discussing about poetry. What is he talked about? He says, I have expressed a this philosophical conception, which may be wrong, because Purusha is supposed to be inactive, only given sanction to Prakriti. Again, it's about poetry. Poetry is freedom, isn't it? Kavi has the freedom to write what the Kavi wants. It need not be correct just like that. Then Tukaram had also written, Mungi Udali I think it's Tukaram, I'm not sure. Mungi Udali Akashi, Tini Gedle Suryashishi. The ant flew into the sky and swallowed the sun. Muktabai, Muktabai. Rightly said, Dr. Bhanuji. Muktabai. The ant flew into the sky and swallowed the sun. How can you imagine it? Well, why? How can you not imagine it? As a poet, you have that freedom. So he says that he is probably using that liberty. He says, I understand Purusha is like this, but isn't it so? I have represented the Lord with dynamism along with static poise. Sri Aurobindo says, that is the Sankhya Purusha. The Purusha of the Gita is Ishvara also. The objection as philosophy is correct. Poetically, the opening is heavy, but the rest is good. So boss has to work on his poetry a bit. Starting is little heavy, but otherwise the entire poem was nice, is what Dr. Nirodbaran has said. Sri Aurobindo has said. Nirodbaran, there is a notion that with the approach of darshan, there is a greater descent of force. I don't feel any difference. But they corroborate their theory by evidence of an upheaval of vital troubles, etc. I think one should feel more calm and peace. Which view do you subscribe to? And it is a fact that, and is it a fact that there is such a descent? Again, doubt. So during Darshan day, there is supposed to be a descent of consciousness. Descent of consciousness meaning the consciousness coming from the higher plane, mostly like Sri Aurobindo said, calling from above. From up, we require a divine consciousness to enter. Descent in the sense, descending into the material consciousness, descending onto the Bhuloka. Avatar's descent takes place, meaning what? That movement. So here during Darshan days, it's supposed to be a descent, he says, but I don't feel any difference. I mean, even in 1930, this was a very advanced relation, isn't it? Guru Shishya generally talks are very different. Here he says, I don't have devotion for you. What? I don't feel anything. Nirodhan Bhai, even Arjuna told that to Krishna, isn't it? How can I trust you, Krishna? How do I believe you? This is Sanatan Dharma. This is the beautiful Guru Shishya Parampara that we are seeing here in Nirodharan and Dr. Sri Aurobindo, in Dr. Nirodharan and Sri Aurobindo. Yes. Normally one should feel more peace and calm. But what is happening? And I don't subscribe to this view, is what he's told. Sri Aurobindo says, there is usually a dissent, but there is also a great opposition to the dissent at these times. Some feel the dissent only, some feel the opposition only, some feel both the dissent and the opposition. So this is a matter of perspective. And generally when divine dissent takes place, opposition is there. Pondicherry, greatest sadhana Sri Aurobindo has done, highest suicide rate also in Pondicherry only. Means there are, somebody will say, what sadhana, what is this? Well, yaha pashyati saha pashyati. Like that in dissent, some people see the dissent taking place. Some people see only, during this time there's a sudden fluctuation, people are acting like crazy recipients of vital force and behaving in different manner. Some are able to see dissent also, feel the dissent, and feel the opposition also. Let us continue. Nirodbaran. With the taking up of the new work, a calmness and ananda have descended on me, and I have been surprisingly free from cravings and disturbing thoughts for a long time at a stretch. Is it due to the effect of work or due to the descent of the force you speak of? Sri Aurobindo. The first force comes down as soon as it finds an opening and acts in the adhara whenever it is ready. What determines the descent cannot always be mentally fixed. Aspiration, call, will, prayer, etc. create a favorable precondition in the head or the heart or anywhere else and are sometimes the determining cause. I'll just repeat this once more. These are very important points of the master. The force comes down as soon as it finds an opening and acts in the adhar whenever it is ready. So what is this adhar, anybody?
The body, the
Okay.
human body.
We are the adhar, isn't it? As an instrument of the divine. When they say nimitta matra, we have to become the nimitta for the divine. So we have to become the adhar. So when does the force come into the adhar? It says, as soon as it finds an opening, meaning the closing is from our side only. Force is there. But opening is not there. I am worried with my anxieties. I am worried with my insecurities. I am worried with my lower emotions. There is no opening. It's like, the vessel is closed, so you cannot pour anything inside it. Like that, the force cannot. Whenever the adhar is ready, the force flows inside. It's something like that. Create the vacuum inside, you will see all force movement at fast speed, God speed we call it. Vacuum will be created through surrender of ego. So it is something like that. What determines the descent? Sri Aurobindo says, cannot, what determines the descent cannot always be mentally fixed. There is no standard operating procedure like we have in factories. Go here, do this, do that, step one, step two, step three. It's not like that. Because so many fluctuation, so many factors are there, so many variables are there in our life also. Instead, what Sri Aurobindo has talked about is some good points which we can note actually here. Aspiration. Aspiration is so important. I aspire to become better. I aspire to become free. If we aspire ki I am trapped like this only, I cannot move ahead at all. This is my life. Can we ever experience freedom? I am a limitation. I am a burden of my birth. I am born because of this. That is the problem. Our freedom fighters, did they accept slavery? No. What did they aspire for? They aspired for freedom. And for that freedom, Swadharmat Nidhanam Shreya Paradharmo Bhayavaha. Something like that. They were saying, I'll stand for my right. Why? Because you are rebelling against somebody? Because you are angry? No. It is a natural thing. It is a natural aspect of justice that everybody should be free. So that is why I will not tolerate what is unjust, or what is wrong. So I will aspire for that, is what we should see. So one is aspiration. Next is call. Aspiration, call, will, prayer, etc. So these four also are important. You see, aspiration we understood just now. What is call? Calling the divine, calling out for help. It is important to make the call. Many times we hesitate to make the call. In the Mahabharata, there is a story of Draupadi hesitating and taking time to make the call. So Krishna couldn't come to help. Because of what? Logic, mental logic, lower vital, emotions, whatever names we want to give it. Sometimes we forget to make the call. So let us see. So many ways are there for the descent of the divine. One is aspiration, second is call, third is will. Sometimes we get so comfortable. There's no will to go out of the comfort zone. I am comfortable with what is happening. It may not be exactly what I like. It's not what I dreamt of, but it's okay. I've got comfortable. I don't want to move out of my comfort zone. I don't know. I may face challenges. I've got so used to being in my comfort zone that I will not. Actually, a young couple, one young couple, they wanted to get together, but for some reason, some hurdles, they could not come together for so many years. And because they would not come together, they stayed separate. But both wanted each other only, so they never got married. Also, parents also in trouble. Everybody is thinking, what's the problem? And nobody is having what we can say understanding. Finally, it got understood that they both are looking for each other. Parents said, fine. Earlier they opposed. They said, no, chalo, theek hai. At least now you will go ahead. We care for you. You go ahead. But now both have lost the will to go ahead, saying, no, I'm comfortable in my life now. It's quite settled. I don't want to make a disturbance. There will be so many challenges. I'll have to make I'll have these many problems. I'll have that. So what they have been dreaming or what they sought so earnestly in the beginning, that over time they have lost that will. So the will to move ahead is gone. So will is also important. As a sadhak, what should be the will? Just simple, ek there, like one devata, eka devo bhava, like that, one aspiration, serve the divine. What way let the divine, he sends me to carpentry, garden, whichever way. That is how all of these sadhaks are living, no? So like that. So this is also one more aspect, will. Personally, I can tell you, working in the garden, I got inspiration for poetry. Means taking that sabal, no, what they call in Tamil, it's called kadapar, metal, long, heavy metal rod, which they use for displacing soil. It was so much fun. I did not know at that time, but I was like, I was told, so I'm doing. It was more of like, no mind of my own that time. It was just say whatever is told, I'll do it. But later on, I found that yes, this is something, that quietude which comes inside. So something like that, we have to channel every action, whether we like it or not. Or Dr. This Prema Nandakumar ji, she wrote, I think on Savitri, she got her first PhD and all. Great sadhika, probably in the 90s right now. She was washing vessels and she looked at her father, also a sadhak, and she felt so frustrated. For this, because after marriage now she's gone into home and she's become Gruhini and washing vessels. Her father, great yogi, is coming to her husband's house and she's feeling ashamed. See, this yogi is coming and look, his daughter is just washing vessels and not doing anything. So like that, she asked him, for this, I got PhD in Savitri for this. Father told in simple, straight line. Sometimes parents are very strict, no? They speak very nicely in one line. If you don't see Savitri in washing vessels, you have not understood Savitri at all. Then she says, yes, that was a big opening for her. So like that, we can have the will to serve the divine, whatever work we are doing. Adi Shankaracharya has told, isn't it? Yad karma karomi tadakhilam shambho tavaradhanam. We can use it as aradhana, whatever action that we are doing. So that is something. Prayer also. Let us also have prayers.
Bhaiya,
Call. Yes,
sorry,
Joey.
interrupt.
Ah,
I
no
will
sorry
interrupt.
required.
Um, you said one thing, Bhaiya, that कि ये Savitri वाला case. You have not understood
Sorry.
the meaning of being Savitri on
Of
the
not,
Bartan
not of
Valuna.
being Savitri.
I'm still confused about that.
No. You have not understood being Savitri. Nahi. You are thinking about. Have you aware? Are you aware of Savitri by Sri Aurobindo?
नहीं, I'm not.
हाँ, तो इसीलिए हो गया होगा because Savitri is a symbol. If you see many places in our cultural aspect, Savitri has to do this, the Savitri has to suffer. That has become a very like a Puranic tales change Indra into somebody who is arrogant and all. No, Rigvedic Indra is something else. He's a god of illumined mind. But in Purana, he's like, Arey, yaar, he like this yogi's wife, so he's gone after her. He's disturbed this person, he's got angry, he's sent thunderbolts. All those same stories are there. So this is something.
Yeah.
Savitri's symbol. Sri Aurobindo used the symbol of Savitri. See, what did Savitri do for her husband? She fought death. She brought about a transformation, isn't it? So Sri Aurobindo's spiritual experiences in the form of divine poetry, he wrote in an epic which is called Savitri. By Savitri, I meant Savitri, the poem also. The poem. If you read the Savitri, you will understand. I mean, it will be very big to be read also. And for me, my Guruji has also told me, ki, keep a leash on you right now. First, get experience and then start reading that because you will mentally run into a different direction. So, but it is like that. There is a symbolism. So, what her father probably meant was, if you do not see divinity in this, you have not understood it. Because it is about material
Oh,
transformation. Material transformation. Material transformation.
yeah, I
So,
understood it.
she achieved transformation of death also. From Amar Tattva, I mean, from Mrityu to immortality, something like that. So that is a secret, and Sri Aurobindo's yoga is that only to bring about transformation. That one day, maybe this is even right now the idea, even though 100 years later it looks too radical. Maybe a time may come for our consciousness that death may not be a necessity. We do not know it yet. It's too far away because we cannot visualize it right now. But that potential is there. What is this Amar Tattva? What is it? That will come later on. Let us see whenever it has to. Dr. Lalita ji has said, yes, one day I think I'll be ready to read Savitri. Yes, I hope so. I also. Whoever is ready first will probably help the other person read. Certainly. Yes, yes. Let us continue. Hmm. Yeah. So, aspiration, call, will, prayer, etc. 4 items have been told. Next, let us continue. I am much better now. Shall I join work tomorrow? Shri Aurobindo? Yes, if you are all right. There's a lot of freedom there. Let us continue. Nirodbaran, may I be permitted to see you on the 15th instant, the centenary of my arrival here? Shri Aurobindo underlined the word centenary, put an interrogation mark above it. I say, you have not been here 100 years, surely. Because this centenary word he's probably misused and used it like that in the correspondence. I say, you have not been here 100 years, surely. Mother won't be free probably before 12:30, but if you like to come in and make pranam, you may do so. One of the things people love about Sri Aurobindo's yoga is the freedom, absolute freedom, no bandhan. But there is a self-discipline. Discipline is not imposed, but self-discipline is developed naturally, united and yet free. That is how we can call it. Mukta Sangha in the Gita's words. Nirodbaran, he says, I would surely like to come, even if it be for a pranam. Please let me know the time through Nolini. Shri Aurobindo, we had said, I think after 12:30. Nirodbaran, I have become a persistent tea drinker, going against your instructions, though the mind does not see any harm in a cup of tea. Shri Aurobindo, you can take, it is a question of self-mastery, that is all. Nirodbaran, the peace and joy I was experiencing since darshan have, I find, left me all on a sudden since yesterday. But what actions of mine, conscious or unconscious, have caused the happy condition to withdraw? Shri Aurobindo, a very small thing will sometimes bring a fall of consciousness when the thing is not yet pakka. One has to pick oneself up again quietly without minding the interruption. Pakka in the sense that which is not ripe. In Hindi, there is the word no pakka in the ripe, means ripe or which is firm. A very small thing can bring a fall in consciousness. Means understand this in our sadhana. If we are small events are bringing a fall in consciousness, our ananda is suddenly getting disturbed. Somebody told something happened against my will. Suddenly I got anxiety because I heard some line from somebody. All these things are happening means you can understand कि yes, you should tell yourself, oh Guru, अभी तक पक्का नहीं हुआ है, पक्का करना है. We have to make ourselves strong. That is important. One has to pick oneself up quietly. What happens if you fall? Get up again. What else? You've fallen, it's okay. Try, rise, get up again without minding the interruption. Means don't again, I am like this only all the time. I keep falling, my consciousness lowers. We will see up Dr. Nirodbaran doing this very often. But that is one of the reasons this book actually was a primer for me to get introduced. Despite being born and brought up in Pondicherry, I didn't know anything about Sri Aurobindo or the mother. Through this book only, I could understand at least the basic of what Sri Aurobindo's yoga is. And so we should be thankful, like we are thankful to Arjuna, because Nirodbaran's questions allow us. ठीक है, it's all right. Fall of consciousness happened. Resume. Don't let that interruption trouble you too much. Nirodbaran, he says, Mother, from your look at Pranam, it seemed to me you didn't or don't like our taking food exclusive of ashram food. Shri Aurobindo, how did you read food into the mother's look? It was not there at all. This is the game of the mind which keeps playing all the time. Sometimes our attachments only become so important. That time he's gone for darshan, he can take the darshan, isn't it? But in his mind, there is guilt of food. I have eaten food from outside. So see the face also, it is like this. Looks like I'm angry because I ate out of food. Nirodban, often I have felt that you give sanction for these occasional feastings, but at the same time, you don't sanction. Intuitive perception of your wish, I must say, isn't an easy thing. Why don't you tell me clearly what I should do instead of leaving me to find out for myself? So you're saying even when you're giving sanction, it looks like you're not giving me sanction. So why you cannot say clearly, Tadekam vada nishchitya, as Arjuna tells Krishna, you're talking about this and talking about that. And many times, generally, gurus don't say no directly also. Lalita ji has written rightly, free will. Yes, the sadhak must exercise free will, take decision according to one's free will and higher consciousness. The guru wants it but does not want to impose it. Sometimes it becomes very difficult because the thought is going to run after one person is running after desires only. So here he is running after T because that is the attachment. So acha theek hai, you can have it. But on the inside the guru, no, this is not required. So this is what he's saying. No, you should tell me clearly. I'm your Shishya. You have to give an instruction. You don't give me in black and white. Not realizing that The Guru wants him to become empowered to take the decision individually. Aurobindo says, why don't you go on what the mother says instead of taking all this intuitive or inferential trouble? So why are you not just following what is being told instead of using your own intuition or your inference? This means this means that. Many times things are straightforward. You ask something, you get something clear as crystal in our life also. We think, oh, this must be this must be that. And in our minds, we sometimes even make khayali pulavs also. We don't realize what's happening. So instead, clarity is important. And here, leave all of this unnecessary inferentials that you are making. Nirodbaran, he says, why do I come back so happy from D's place? Is it due to what you call vital sympathy? Arvindo, it may be a vital sympathy, but with no harm in it. As long as he's getting happy, what's more? Nothing, no problem. It's okay. Nirodhan, I send a poem, rather a long one. It's addressed to P. Can I send it to him? Shri Aurobindo, yes. The beginning of the poem seems to me to have some strength in it. The rest spins itself out rather thinly, at too great a length. A more compact and original thought and expression are needed. So Sri Aurobindo would understand after reading the poem what is the state of mind or what is the expression. He would say from which plane the inspiration has come. That he could understand. So he says, yes, starting is all right. Later on, you have stretched it. You stretched it more than what it's like. We take out juice. You can take out only as much juice is there inside, isn't it? You squeeze out more, what will happen? It will start becoming bitter. Something like that. This poem is also, it's got a little stretched a bit too much. Sri Aurobindo says, is there not a difference? Sorry, Nirodbaran, he says, is there not a difference
I
between
have
the,
a question.
yeah,
We just talked in the last to last letter from Dr. Nirodbaran. He said about vital sympathy. What is this?
vital sympathy in the sense, sometimes you get very happy meeting some people. So is it just emotional? On the very vital level only, I'm feeling so happy, he said, no, after going to a particular person. The name is mentioned as D only. So after going to D, he felt very happy. So he said, is this just vital happiness which has come from him? Sharminder says, yes, could be, but it's not no problem. He says, it's okay. Because very nicely he says, no harm in it. Why is no harm in it? Because this person has a tendency to go into sorrow very easily, no? So for him, the important thing would be to remain out of that sorrow. So sometimes we receive it, just like we get lower vital, we get lower. Sometimes we get higher vital also experiences. So it's not a problem.
Understood. Thank you.
Thank you. Nirodbaran, I had a very peculiar dream last night. I am almost ashamed to write about it. I heard someone saying to me in Bengali, in Shiva's Ansha is your birth. As soon as I got up, I was in a flood of joy and devotion for Shiva. Sri Aurobindo, he says, everyone's inner being is born in the Ansha of some Devata. Birth and tradition of this life are not everything. There have been previous lives also, which one carries on into this one, and a future also which is already existent in the present. I didn't quite understand myself what is to be ashamed about it, but he has written he is ashamed about it. If anybody can decipher what it could be, you can tell me because
I think because his guru, Dr. Nirodbaran Guru, is Sri Aurobindo, who might be more attached to Krishna as compared to the Shiva, right?
according to
Because आप उस
Nirodbaran
lens
then.
से देखते हैं. Yes.
Okay, that
So
is
as
Nirodbaran.
a yes.
Acha. Right,
So
right,
as a
right.
student, like when you are preaching only Kanha, then you are thinking about Shiva, and then you get confused
Okay.
कि भाई क्या चल रहा है?
Oh,
That way.
इसीलिए ashamed है. Okay, got it. Thank you, Joey. Yes. So that is probably why. That is fine. Sri Aurobindo says everyone's inner being is born in the Ansha of some Devata. Birth and tradition of this life are not everything. There have been previous lives also, which one carries on into this one, and a future also, which is already existent in the present. So it's very interesting. Future is already existent in the present, meaning some potentialities already are manifesting at a, even in this present, future's potentialities are being ready. Probably that is what yogis get to see, no? Drashtas. We've heard about Nostradamus because he was able to visualize certain things. We've seen yogis having clairvoyance. Why? They're probably able to see that. It's an interesting phenomenon. We'll probably look at just two more of these questions and we'll stop. And 1934 March. Yes, we'll stop in March 1934, March 21. Uh, I send you one more poem, Nirodbaran says, but there seems to be hardly any originality in the idea itself. Boat, boatman, etc. reminds one of Rabindranath, doesn't it? I would like to have your opinion. Sure, Window. In the ideas and images, there is not much originality. And I cannot say Tagore is not there in his ubiquitous glory, but it is well written all the same. Sometimes we get inspired from somebody else and it's like that. It is, but the originality is not there, Sherbindo says. But it is still well written. Nirodbaran. Last night, in a half sleepy state in meditation, I had a vision of Sri Krishna playing on his flute in his usual poise. The likeness was as represented in current paintings. So I rather hesitate to accept it as a vision at all. But I wonder, even if the vision were true, why should Krishna appear when I have been trying to see Shiva? Sri Aurobindo. Oh, what lucky sadhak this guy is. Uh, Sri Aurobindo. He says, if it was like, if it was in the like the pictures, it may have been a mental image. On the other hand, it may not have been, especially as you did not ask for it. Krishna may have appeared in that form because for your mind it was easiest. So again, the form of Krishna, we have seen 100,000 forms of Krishna, isn't it? According to the Vishwarupa or the Vibhuti Darshana. Arjuna liked which form? He liked the Chaturbhuja. This is the mind, this is the form which relates to me, relates to my mind. So something like that. Krishna with his beautiful poise, with his Shanta flute. I think that's the favorite visions for anybody. So Shri Aurobindo, it's because of that. Also, you didn't ask for it; it came naturally. So it's not some subconscious memory coming onto it. It's actually this is a doubt which comes all the time. We have visions also. Sometimes we start doubting them. Nirodbaran, I am surprised to see that within a few days, Jay has written more poems than my whole output in a year. No, I am not jealous, but I wonder how and why I don't get sufficient inspiration. Can we, since this is March 39th, 1934, this chapter is getting over, just say 5 more questions. Can we go ahead? Yes? Everybody, it's okay? Yes, then we'll complete it in here. So the chapter will be complete. Only it is not marked as chapters in the reference book that I found Manisha ji shared to me. It has been divided in chapter, but this one is not having chapters. Yes, let us continue. So here he says, Jay has written more poems than my whole output in a year. Sri Aurobindo, your poems are well enough, but for both Jay and yourself, what has to be seen is whether it comes to something original and substantial. At present, what both are doing is only prentice work. So he says, both of your poems are all right, but this is still just not yet original. What does that mean? Means this is just a development. Poetry is also can be used for sadhana. But so sometimes what happens, ideas come from here, ideas come from there. Then one person has got a flow, so he's got so many poems. Another person has got lesser number of poems. Though these both have got poetic inspiration, It is not full original inspiration. Right now, Sri Aurobindo is able to see ki, no, you have not started. The higher level of consciousness has not started manifesting yet. Nirodbaran, for a week or so, I haven't been able to write a single line, but it struck me. Why not try something in prose, which I suppose can be done even in the absence of any inspiration? But I am faced with the difficulty of weak style, lack of plots, and the thought of a failure. Sri Aurobindo, you can try making it the object to get rid of the defects of style and structure. Nirodbaran, will you kindly give me some advice on this, as well as your force for necessary developments? When the current of inspiration comes to a stop, I think sometimes that perhaps you may have forgotten me in your busy moments. He says, it's very sweet. So this is one thing we see about Nirodbaran again and again. He's requesting for intervention, and he says, your intervention is not, your force is not coming, so I'm not getting inspiration. That is also a good Shraddha, right? Whenever I'm writing, it's because of your inspiration. Nirodbaran, it does not depend on that at all. It depends on a certain state of receptivity, an opening of the channel between the inner plane where the inspiration comes and the outer through which it has to pass. This is something which we can also understand. When we have to take decisions in life also, we should get inspiration. Inspiration should come from the higher plane. It should not be from lower vital. So you have to become receptive for it. Same thing, when receptivity comes, the poetry comes. It is something like that. Aurobindo is saying. Nirodbaran, I have diarrhea. I had toast and butter with A's, and I'm having tea regularly at these. Is it due to it either? But can the bowels be so sensitive as that by yoga? Sri Aurobindo, yes, the bowels can be quite as sensitive as that, but it is probably some other cause. Diarrhea may come from catching cold in the stomach or other reasons than food. Nirodbaran, as regards the opening of the channel, can it be done sooner by more concentration, meditation, etc., disregarding the literary side of the for the time being? Sri Aurobindo, one can get the power of receptivity to inspiration by concentration and meditation, making the inner being stronger and the outer less gross, tamasic, and insistent. So the outer being, we have to make it more flexible. We have to make it less tamasic. This is something which is interesting in poetic writing. One is the inspiration and how the inspiration has to flow. Many times when we allow our intervention to come, some thought comes, very beautiful thought comes. Then our interruption comes when that thought does not come out properly. This I think we must have experienced. We go to speak something because we get some very nice thing. We go to speak to somebody at that time, we feel we are not conveying it that properly. That happens more often than not when emotions are too much. Because you want to convey something, but the outer being is now still attached with those emotions that conveying is not taking place. It's like an artist who is making a beautiful picture with nice colors, everything is done, and suddenly a wrong color is put onto it. What happens then? Then that everything has to be adjusted according to that color, and the beauty of that picture loses. The picture loses its beauty, something like that. Nirodbaran, he says, you have said that inspiration comes as a result of certain state of receptivity. Are we supposed to be more receptive at times that we feel the inspiration descending? Sri Aurobindo says yes. But the difference is hardly perceptible. Nirodbaran says the difference is hardly perceptible. Sri Aurobindo, it only means that you cannot perceive it. So that is very clear for those who are able to perceive it. Where is the inspiration? It is something, if it's actually a practice. If you start practicing, you will be able to understand. It is so simple as that. Anybody as an artist or a poet or anybody has written, can you share something like this, your experience of personal interruption coming into a flow of thought? Anybody?
Maybe I can send something, but it's not about that like poetic and something. It's about singing. So Indian
About,
classical specifically.
sorry.
I would say कि when I'm in the free flow, it
हाँ,
works. But वही है, एक thought आया तो पूरा का पूरा उस दिन का practice गया. And like when
गया.
it feels that I'm doing good, then suddenly it puts fall. Like
Uh,
Indian classical is supposed to be very tough. So like you can say that I'm learning a raga. I'm doing quite well for a week. I thought that I have done quite good. In the next class, I will do silliest of the mistake, and my teacher will be like, practice again.
okay. It undoes
So
your
that's what I
good
think.
work. So that is probably your personal interest. Means raga is, I think, in singing. I'm not so good in singing, but this, I think, raga is about connecting, no? Connecting with the flow of
Yes.
consciousness. It should flow
Yeah.
through
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
And
So
suddenly
I
the
would say
flow is
when I
blocked.
had this thought that I'm doing good, so it's my own thought, the vital one, and then it disrupts the whole flow.
That your own thought disrupted, isn't it? Yes, yes. I can relate to it in the terms of poetry. I can say,
Yeah.
"अरे I say फालतू ending ये क्या किया? It was starting well, suddenly फालतू. What is it? Don't put yourself in between is what I try to tell myself when writing, because you can see, and when you see it only, you say, oh, this is not right. This is not right. I think Joyji gave a very beautiful example. This is what Shirvindo is asking us to do. Nirodbaran, I have been faced with a doubt whether one can profit by writing poems, etc. As much, in bracket, I mean spiritually, as one would if he had devoted that part of his time to sadhana, meditation, etc. In other words, can literary activity be taken as part of one's sadhana? So he's questioning the entire thing. Like, we've all heard of the story Fox and the Grapes, isn't it? But the grapes are sour because the fox could not reach to the grapes. Something like that. Nirudbhay is not experiencing success, so he's questioning the very need for poetry. He says, what literary activity can help in sadhana? Meditation. I could better use my time in meditation than doing it. Sure, we'll stop here with this last statement. Any activity can be taken as part of a sadhana if it is offered to the divine or done with a consciousness or faith that it is done by the divine power. That is the important point. This is the kernel of Sri Aurobindo's yoga also. Essence is this. I'll just repeat it once more and then we'll stop and maybe somebody can just share some summary of what we saw. Any activity can be taken as part of the sadhana if it is offered to the divine. Means whichever activity it can become sadhana if and only if you offer to the divine or done with the consciousness or the faith that it is done by the divine power. Means I am not doing it. Na ham karta, hari hi karta. Not ahankar. Ahankar is not required. But at least I am insignificant. Let the divine work through me. Let the divine work. If this feeling, or I am doing this work for the divine, if you do that, it doesn't matter. Literary activity or non-literary activity. Dhyana also do it as an offering, as a chance to connect with the divine. It is so simple. I think this is the most important point. That is what Sherman is. That is the most important. That is the important point. So with this, we stop here. In 1934 March, we'll enter into April. It will be interesting as Sherwin's correspondence increases and Nirodbaran's level of consciousness also rises. Then he is also sent to the take care of these what we can say these patients also. He gets his swadharma again of doctory. So he becomes a doctor also afterwards. And the treatment starts. And the treatment also is very interesting how the force in treatment is being used. I've seen many doctor friends also. Normally I thought they'll be skeptical, but they said yes, we're able to relate to it. Because there's a force which is at play. Medicines also work, but there's a force also which works behind the medicine as well. Oshadi Janavi Toyam Vaidyo Narayano Hari is the shloka. Like if medicines are the Mother Ganga, Vaidya is no less than Narayana, and if take Narayan's force, then you will watch how the transformations take place. So we stop here. Can someone summarize something that we saw? Yes, please. And we'll conclude.
Bhaiya, in the last thing that you talked about, कि when your friends, doctor friends say that uh, कि medicines के साथ साथ अंदर का भी कुछ होता है, right? This has
Yeah.
also been found in all sort of experiments in psychology, placebo effects. कि किसी को
Yes.
मेडिसिन नहीं दिया फिर भी वो इफेक्ट दिखेगा क्योंकि उस इंसान को लगा कि he has been given and all sort of positive effects will come up. So इसको प्लेसिबो इफेक्ट साइंस के टर्म में कह सकते हैं, but it has to do something with the divinity in my
It
senses.
is
I'm not
force.
sure though.
Placebo is like कुछ भी नहीं, isn't it? When we say
Yes, मतलब
placebo,
कुछ भी दिया नहीं गया है, still the person started feeling fine,
तो कुछ
जबकि उसको
था,
प्रॉब्लम थी.
तो कुछ तो गया है जो हमें पता नहीं है, isn't it? Something we don't know. Some doctors, you see the doctor only, you start feeling better. And there are some doctors, you think of the doctor only, you feel like, as that doctor, no, no, no. So it's something like that. People go and sometimes this experience is there. There is a consciousness which goes. Words also travel as consciousness. Feelings also travel as consciousness. And we have a world which is connected by consciousness, which we must understand. So with this, we are concluding today's reading. Can someone recollect something what we saw today? Yes, please.
To important takeaway, what I feel is that for higher opening, like what Aurobindo has said, that aspiration, will, prayer, that is required. That is one important takeaway I thought. And second, the last sentence, what he said, that anything can be treated as a sadhana if you are dedicated to the as a sign of divinity. So that is two important takeaway I feel from today's discussions.
Sorry, Hari Om. Yes, I was talking. Yes, thank you, Dr. Vaishali ji. The four which Sri Aurobindo talked about, we just look at them again. Once is aspiration, call, will, and prayer. These were the four, and the Aadhar should be ready. When the Aadhar is ready, manifestation will take place. We don't have to worry about mental strength, physical strength, nothing. Become ready, God will give all of it. So, yes, that was one point. Anybody wants to add something, or we conclude with the Shanti Mantra? Lalita ji has written something. What is the second one about what?
Aspiration. Next.
Will, aspiration, will, prayer.
Okay. Prayer.
Yeah, there was a fourth one also. Call. Yeah, call.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Let us conclude with the Shanti Mantra. Hari Om. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kasyit dukha bhavet. Hari Om Tat Sat, Krishnam Vande, Jagat Guru. Hari Om. We're just waiting for Dr. Nirodbaran to overcome his tea. So we'll have different questions beyond his tea also. But that is also interesting. His sincerity is helping us also to understand that, yes, this is the way we should be. Punarmilama. See you next week. Hari Om. Next Sunday we'll continue.
Hari Om.
Hari
Hari
Om.
Om.
Thank you.
Hari Om. Thank you.
Thank you.
Namaskaram. Hari Om. Hari Om.